you're doing, if you're running a company, running a small outfit, running your own life, writing a book, repairing a relationship, getting healthy, just trying to feel good every day. No matter what you're trying to do, there's always three parts. There's the beginning, where you start something, you ideate and you want it and you feel like, oh, this is important for whatever reason, something happens. And then there's the middle section, right, where the doing is underway and it's just the work in progress. And then there's the done. It's over the goal line where you celebrate and figure out what's next and all the rest. Well, yesterday I talked about fear and what the fear costs us, right? And fear intervenes in a number of ways. It like way in the beginning when you're thinking of something, if we're afraid or if we have experiences of failure, we shrink our goals. So we say, oh, it'd be so great if I could do this. Oh, but I don't know, I don't know if I can do that. Ooh, it's COVID, I can't travel, or I don't know how to do that, or I've tried before, or gee, I'm too busy, or whatever, right? And so that gets in the way of even the size of the dream. I'll give you an example. This year, 2022, and it's almost July, half over, I have committed to help 10 million people. Do what? Discover, develop, and serve with their divine gifts. Now, I don't know how to do that. I have a number of things underway. I'm about ready to start a council of a few people to help me with ideas and thoughts about how to do it, and perhaps some help with their connections and lists and looking into broadcast media and so forth. But it doesn't matter. The point of this is the 10 million. That's an outrageously big goal for me. Now, that might be a small goal for someone who has access right now and can see their way to that. But for me, that's a big deal. So I'm committed to do that this year, and that's my ideation. Now, I'm in the doing process. Now, fear, self-doubt, and blockages and sabotage and all that come in the boundary between ideation and starting into it, too, because here's where that comes in. Well, it's not the right time. I just got to clean up this mess first. Oh, I got to dig my way out from under whatever it is, right? And there's all kinds of reasons, even if you've gotten over the barriers and have this magical goal, big, powerful, is wonderful, you relegate it to, well, I don't know if I can really do that. I don't know when to start. Oh, it sure would be nice. And that moves from real goal, like a planned activity, to a wish. So when we have an awesome wish list and we don't get it done, we don't even really get started. So so there's the barriers there. Then you're in the doing phase. Now, in the doing phase, that's really iterative because often, especially with big things, we don't really know how to do it, right? We don't, or we think we don't. We don't know what we mean often when we say that is, I don't know the exact, precise, guaranteed success steps to get from A to B. I know I need to go in that direction or like down that beautiful street right there behind me. I know I need to do that, but I don't know really the directions, the exact step-by-step, foolproof, perfect, failure-proof instructions. Well, I can tell you what, no one knows your exact, precise, failure-proof instructions except perhaps the universe or the divine. No matter what anyone else tells you, they can give you suggestions, they can tell you how they've done something, but it isn't going to work exactly as given to you for your stuff because your situation's different, your goal is different, your internal experiences are different, your commitment level is different, all those things. And so that makes this doing process really iterative. And there's three parts to the doing process. There's the first part, which is understanding where you really are to start with and creating this awesome idea. And then there's the middle, which is you need a mental earthquake, which is a reset, a huge mental reset to how you're thinking and feeling and what you believe about this possibility. And the reason it's necessary is because if you already knew you could do it, you already knew exactly what to do, and you already really wanted it badly, you'd already be there. And you're not. And in fact, if you're like most, you're struggling with the idea of, can I really do this? And I have no idea how. And that means you need a mental earthquake. And here is the guts of that earthquake: to connect with the truth of your divinity and capability, to really understand you here now are an infinite creator. You have the possibility to create what you want. There is a road from where you stand to where you want to go, right? There is a road. The question is, are you ready to walk it? And that mental earthquake is the second piece after you understand where you really are. The third piece after the mental earthquake is to create a precise vision of the future. Often we say things like, I want a lot more money, but we actually have no idea what that is. In one of my statements for goals, I have an exact amount of money and an exact set of circumstances that will exist, and sharing them is not the point. They're for me and they're mine, and I repeat them daily, and I live into them. I look into their eyes, and I believe them, and I know it's true. Well, if I didn't have that precise, exact, motivating, inspiring picture, I wouldn't find the will, because what happens in the middle is we start things and nothing goes as I've ever planned. Nothing, ever. I'll give you a funny example. Yesterday morning, I was putting back a monitor, a 27-inch monitor that I'd been using to build my wife's computer, and I dropped it. I was trying to balance it to put it on a wall mount, and it tipped forward, and I was trying to do the screw. It didn't matter. It tipped forward, and it was an old monitor, so it was heavy. Crashed the floor and broke in a whole bunch of pieces. That was not what I intended, so I had to order a new one. It won't be here till tonight, and it cost me a bunch of money and delay, et cetera, et cetera. There's a million of those things that happen. Camera doesn't work like you want. You put out a video and nobody cares. You say stuff and you listen to it later and it's like, oh man, what was I thinking? Or you write stuff and nobody answers. Or you even talk to yourself and you try to meditate and get connected with your internal power and the divine and everything else, and you feel stupid and nothing happens, or it feels like nothing happens. That happens to everybody. Me, everybody I know, and probably you. So the question is not, will that happen? It's what do you do when it happens? Creating that third step, creating the future, is, here's how I say it: create a vibrant and powerful picture of the future state with all the details, feelings, and reasons that is so powerful that it perpetually fires the drive to make it real. Perpetually fires the drive to make it real. That, to me, is what's enough motivation to keep going even when all that stuff happens. The fourth step is what I call courageous planning. And everyone knows how to make a goal, set a goal, put a date out there, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. All those are good, but they only go so far. And even doing all that, there is a massive failure rate, and there's a reason, especially for individuals, entrepreneurs, small business owners that are trying to get somewhere. And that is because there is not a realistic account taken of all the rest of the demands on your time and your heart. There isn't a realistic prioritization. You don't get your calendar involved where you've booked all of the precise time needed to do every single step between where you're at now and where you're trying to get. And that's what's involved in courageous planning, which is the fourth part. And the fifth part is relentless execution. And it doesn't mean slave driver stuff. It means understanding a key principle. We all have bad days, medium days, and good days. Bad days are days when crap, everything just seems to go against you, the wind's in your face, etc. Medium days are, a few things go good, a few things go not. You struggle through the best you can and hope tomorrow's better. And good days, spectacular days, those ones where the wind's at your back, everything goes right, and you know that if you had a string of those days, you'd be in, right? So what is the difference between bad days, medium days, and good days. And how do you have the power to turn bad days into good days or medium days into good days? When I do a completely unscientific survey of people, asking them about those definitions, what percentage of your days are bad days, what are mediocre or medium days, and what are good days, I usually get something like 75% are medium days. A few things go right, a few things go wrong. 10 or 15% are really good days, and 10 or 15% are bad days. Well, so I started with this question of what would happen, Kellen, if I could turn 75% of days into good days, where the wind was at my back and I was plowing forward with joyful and reckless abandon, doing things right and left. The right things, not just anything. And so I created a system, a method, a process to have 75% good days, maybe even 80%. And then a few medium days and 0 bad days. What if you could do that? How much more productive, how much more joyful and powerful would you be if you had 75 or 80% of days, good days, really good days, where everything went like massively positively? You might be laughing at me and say it's impossible. And in fact, I heard a conversation the other day where someone was quoting a study that said well over 50% of people are dealing with at any given moment, are dealing with some really difficult problem. Not small, not trivial, but really hard thing. Well, if half or 2/3 of people at any given moment, like around you, and maybe it's you right now, are dealing with a traumatic, difficult problem, how in the world could you hope to have 75 or 80% good days? Well, that's the question to answer. Now, to put all of those steps together, understanding the present, where you are now, creating a mental earthquake, creating a powerful vision of the future, doing courageous planning, and then relentless execution, where you create 80% good days, I put that together in something I call the results equation. Because when you do all those things, you get the result you're looking for, or better. It's not magic, it's not mystery, it's not waving a wand, and it's not woo-woo, although there's plenty of spiritual power and connection deeply involved. So I created the results equation for myself. Then I wrote a book called The Results Equation. Then I created a small group coaching container for people that are committed to ending addiction to mediocrity. It's been really successful, and it's a lot of fun because I can't tell you how joyful it is to work all the time with people who are committed to growth. Like you and me, we're allowed to do no growth. We're allowed to just cruise along with what's in front of us. We're allowed to chafe and argue and be mad and blame others about our circumstance. We're allowed to do that. I've never found it to do much good. I've never found it made me happy, and I've certainly never found it to create results. We're also allowed to change who we're being and choose to move forward powerfully on purpose and create all the results that you deserve, that you want. One phrase I say is create the cash you need to have the life you want, or create the results you need to have the life you want. It's not a mystery, it's a process. We've come sometimes to think that you either have to be lucky, or you have to know somebody, or you have to be able to buy the secret sauce they sell on aisle 13.5 of some mystery grocery store, right? The sauce you pour on what you're doing today to get a different result. And you and I both know there's no such thing. No athlete got to the top of the podium without the work. No musician got to the top of the game without the work. No artist got to the top of the game without the work. No great parent got to the top of the game without the work. And the work is not just slaving. It's inspiration, it's rounded development, it's belief, it's spiritual power, as well as physical activity. Today, I wanted to just love you and encourage you that whether you're running a company, you're facing some upheaval in your business, you're having to do change management at work, you're having to reinvent yourself, you want to create a business and write a book, you want to create a work from home business because you're part of the Great Resignation and you don't want to go back to the office, or you just want to change some personal things, or you want to create a sense of positivity and power and not be governed by fear. Whatever the result is you want, if you want it, you can have it. The results equation is the fastest way to get there. I know because I use it every day. I teach it every day. If you're interested, I'll help you with it. But whether you are interested in my help or not, I want to leave you with this certain knowledge. You're a divine person, intentionally created. You have gifts and talents. You often feel the yearning and call to use them, to do something to add good to the world. I know that. Isn't it time to say yes? Isn't it time to bury the fear and move forward with the tug in your heart to do the thing you want to do? We'll see you tomorrow.